Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be going through all the methods you need to know to find the perfect SaaS idea. So I'm not going to be wasting your time with this video, but first let's look at some examples of apps that make a lot of money. So the first one is Upvote, and as you can see they've grossed over €1 million through Stripe. As you can see, this is their landing page, and it's a very simple product despite them making over $1 million in revenue. It basically just allows users post requests or feedback to a software company, and other users can upvote whether they want this feature to be implemented or not. The second example I have here, and I'm sure you guys know plenty more, is a simple form builder, and to be honest you can't get simpler than this. And as you can see, in one day alone they made 35,000 rupees, which is equivalent to around $400. I don't have to talk all day about examples of apps making money, because I'm sure we've all used softwares in the past and spent money on them. So let's go into getting the ideas. But before that, you need to understand the keys to a strong idea. And the first one is that you need to have some sort of interest and ideally experience in the industry you're trying to sell to. And the reason for this is if you want to make any money, you're likely going to spend weeks or months building the product and finding customers. So you want to have some sort of interest so you don't go crazy. But also, some experience that can give you an edge over your competitors is great too. But I wouldn't stress too much about having a ton of experience in a specific industry, because there's so many resources online today, plenty of YouTube videos, Google, even ChatGPT, to try fill in any gaps of experience you don't have. But if it's an area that you do have experience, it's only going to serve you well. Secondly, you want to be making sure that the software you're trying to sell is to people with money to spend. I wouldn't be eager to start creating software for barbershops, for example, because they most likely don't have as much money compared to something like a real estate company. And the final thing is that if you're building a product for a specific industry, you want to make sure their market is growing, and this is easy to check through platforms like Google Trends. Now we're clear on some of the most important facts of finding a strong idea. Let's go ahead to the first method, which is social media. Now, as you guys all know, social media algorithms are designed to capture your attention. I mean, you're even watching this video right now. So that means if you want to try find startup ideas, you just need to tell social media to feed you them. New apps, new SaaSes are being launched every day on these platforms with new viral formats. So I would recommend creating a brand new account on, say, Instagram or TikTok, and then training your algorithm to promote these ideas for you. It literally only takes 5 minutes to sign up for a TikTok account. And you can go ahead and scroll through your For You page, and like any video that recommends specific SaaS products, the algorithm will just start serving you more and more, and you can start to find areas where you can compete. Another great place is to look for startup resources online. I have 3 examples I want to show you. The first one is Half-Baked, which is an amazing newsletter. As you can see, every day they send startup ideas, hacks and strategies. So if I go ahead and click into one of these articles, you can see some business ideas which will likely be successful. Now every day they send these in, and they have loads of tips of trends which are starting to emerge, or stories of very successful startups. And just by subscribing and reading every day, you start to think like an entrepreneur, just by the constant exposure to really great business ideas. Another great resource is Starter Story, and I'm sure you've seen Pat Wall's YouTube videos or Twitter, but I have a really cool hack to get some startup ideas. Just by typing in the Google search bar site, and then open brackets, starterstory.com, and then close the brackets, you can type in something like 10k, and you instantly get all of his articles where he talks about, 10k visitors, 10k a month, and we can just click in one of these articles and you can just read about a startup that was successful. Now you do have to subscribe here, but I recommend using this Google search method because it skips you from having to actually pay for it. You can just go straight into these articles. Now finally, there's eBiz Story. As you can see, they have a business idea database where you can scroll through plenty of profitable ideas. If I just click on one of these for an example, you can read an article going through a success story of an app or a SaaS product that have actually made it, and try see if there's angles where you can compete with them. Now this method sounds so simple, but it's actually a bit unorthodox. I live in Dublin, for example, so let's say I was trying to think about a SaaS that would help real estate businesses. I've actually done this before, but if you just go ahead and type, real estate, you can start to see some businesses that are in this industry. And if you just show up with some basic UI drawn up of your SaaS product and ask if they would pay for it, you start to get some really honest feedback instantly. Now, if you were to go manually and, email out to these people, most likely they're not going to respond. If you just go in person and ask for the honest feedback. You're going to hear some great insights, and each time you start to build your confidence, you start to learn about the people who actually want to buy your product, and they can tell you exactly the problems they have. And of course, there's other slight different ways to find SaaS ideas, but these kind of cover the main points of social media, reading resources online, and then just talking to people in general. You can also think about going to websites like Reddit, which has great conversation that you can tap into, and use tools like Gummy Search to find specific keywords. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful.